What's up, guys? Welcome to today's podcast/video. So we wanted to discuss a quick topic about something that Mari has been bringing up lately, and that is what, babe?
Domestic engineer life.
Yeah. And what's domestic engineer life?
It is basically being a homemaker and taking care of your family.
I got it. So Mari's been, ever since she stepped down from her job, she's dropped little comments here and there, whereas a husband, I'm like, no, that's not how you look at it. You're doing a wonderful job. And we've always discussed this in our marriage, even dating back to when we, the first time you took off, is whether it's self-worth or insecurity you guys are having, or just mental things that you're creating that aren't really issues, and that is parenting, right? And taking care of kids and taking care of the house is much more important and much harder than going to work.
It is. Well, I mean, okay. So the problem that I have is, I was just explaining to Kevin earlier, it's just, it gets crazy when you're so used to working full-time. And I know those of you who are listening and have full-time jobs, you get a steady stream of income. You have great benefits. You've got all these things that are concrete because you get to clock in and clock out. So when you choose to make a shift in your life and you're like, okay, now, I'm gonna be taking care of my family, but I'm also gonna be doing other things for people, right? I'm gonna be podcasting and writing, and I'm gonna be, ministering and all this stuff. It is what I know God has called me to do. However, you're going through transitions. So I'm going through this transition period where I'm like, wow. So, I have to be careful how I spend money. I have to be careful, to try not to be depressed, because, money is something that we all rely on. But going back to when you work full time, and it was always in the bank, I didn't have to bother Kevin for a lot of stuff. I could just be like, okay, I'm gonna put food on the table, he's taking care of the house, he's doing all this stuff, and then if I need to go buy a pair of shoes for Jaiden, because he goes through shoes like every 2 months, or if I need to, get an oil change, like for instance, yesterday was the first time I ever was like, Kevin, can I use, your card to get an oil change? So I know I need a debit card, from Kevin's whatever, but
right. Easy.
It's just hard, it's so hard when you're normally like this independent person, but you're not because you're married. It's hard.
Sure.
But I mean, I've always been like that, though.
Yes. And so Mari's always been Miss Independent, very strong woman, and that's what attracted me to her. But I've always told her since we got married to become one.
Hold on, commercial break.
To become one.
Sorry. Okay.
Yes.
So, but two do become one. Yes. And I hear that from you all the time.
Right.
And yes, that's the truth.
Right. And my money is her money, and her money is my money.
Right, together.
Yes. And we never talk about it.
No.
Like, it's separate.
When I was working full time, if Kevin needed something, or I knew he needed, I would just buy it, or he would,
Right.
Because we are, one.
Right.
But it's just funny, like when your income gets cut in half. That's all.
Sure. So then what happens is budgeting comes into place.
Yes,
and
budgeting.
Needs and wants becomes a priority. And that's a big thing. I get it. Like, Mari was able to go get much more want type stuff.
Oh yeah. And I'm not even like those divas that are out there that do all kinds of stuff. Like, I don't get my hair done.
Not at all.
I don't get my nails done and stuff like that. I do get pedicures though. But it's like,
keep it clean.
I'm not that kind of woman, whereas some of you might be that, that way.
Right.
But I'm pretty frugal.
Right.
But it was just nice to be able to be like, oh, well, I'm going to go get that ice cream from Mitchell's.
Right.
That costs like $5.
Right. So what's been taking place, though, over the last couple of weeks is she'll come to me and then she'll make a comment of like, so you wouldn't feel like worthless just sitting around every day if you had to do taking care of the kids.
And that's because, I get in my head sometimes, which a lot of us do that.
Right.
So.
But my response was, I tried to tell her, I was like, no, I would never feel.
I know, and I love that about him. Like, wow. He was like, no, I just do my job.
Right. Because I know that taking care of the kids, taking care of the house, laundry, dishes, chores, that's a full-time job, and I would never feel inadequate or anything. I would be like, well, I handled mine today. I did my part.
Right.
And I would be at peace with that.
I know.
But we're all different.
Right. And there's been other things that have happened too in these last few months that have also made me feel like more inadequate. Like I was not walking, you know, I had like some health issues that were going on. So then of course all this negative stuff sets in. So that's why it's important for you parents, like if you get in that negative mindset, to always trust that God has, you know, your best interest at heart. And so as soon as I would start thinking these negative thoughts, you know, God speaks through a lot of us. He spoke through Kevin, you know, and I'm like, okay. Or he would speak through a friend that would talk to me and say, you know, you're more than a conqueror. You got this, you know, stop, you know, thinking about all those negative things. So I'm much better now. But I was like in a bad place because of all the stuff that was going on. Health-wise, work-wise.
Right.
You know.
There we go. She's back on camera. Okay. She keeps walking just off the screen. So
Kevin
cute.
has a problem with editing and all that stuff. I don't. So anyway.
Well, who doesn't want to see that lovely face? It's a video. But we just wanted to touch base on remembering the importance of your role, whatever it may be. Don't ever feel inadequate or question yourself, because every role is just as important when you're married.
Absolutely.
And we've always talked about, even early on, counseling, we went to our pastor and we were just going through stuff, and he made sure to bring that up when we were young and just recently married, how important that role is, and to never hold it over one another. Like if she's at home taking care of the kids, that's actually tougher. It's a known fact. And a lot of men, if you're watching this, men will admit they'd rather go to work than stay home and take care of the kids.
We have a good friend that stays at home and he takes care of his kids. It's hard.
It's hard, right. So don't ever play that card, well, I work, so you gotta do no. They're equal, and actually staying home is even harder. So always be a team, stay on the same page.
Be encouraging. You know, Kevin is really encouraging. Like he never says anything negative to me. He doesn't say, well, blah, 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 you know, like, I do this and that, what are you doing? You know, he doesn't do that. He's always like, babe, thank you for dinner. Babe, thank you for breakfast. Babe, you're awesome. Babe, I love you. Babe, you know, I mean, it's hard.
Words are powerful.
Right, words are powerful.
Well, they're good or bad.
Right, so just like build up your spouse. Especially if you know they're like in that place that sometimes we people can get into that place.
Right, because sometimes you can go down that rabbit hole and get dark. And when she was going through her back issues, I really understood.
It was like back, it was legs, it was head. It was like, I mean, I have a lot of neurological things going on, but that's for another video. Right. Another podcast.
And you just felt like I was doing everything while you're laying in bed, but that happens. That's where the other spouse has to pick up and be the strength when you're weak at that time.
To become one.
So that was all for today's video. We just wanted to touch on roles in marriages. And again, it can be reversed. The last thing I want to talk about is, so if you're a dad or a guy watching this, be content, be confident in your role. Don't be insecure. Let that pride go. Because if I was a stay-at-home dad, my cousin is
you would be doing it better than me. I mean, I'm just saying that because he is like fun all the time.
And
so they would be like, cleaning. We don't want you home, mommy. We got daddy. We're good.
Right, jungle gyms and all this. So my last example of this for the male side is my cousin. My cousin was a green engineer making great money, but his wife made even more money, and that's just how the cards fell. So he was like, babe, I will stay home instead of paying it for a nanny. And he's embraced it 100%.
Man, he's really
He's like their coach with soccer. He makes their meals. He gets into everything. And never once when I talk to him, has he ever doubted himself or looked down upon himself. He understands in their marriage that his role is this, her role is this, and they have a very strong marriage because of they understand their roles.
Right. And so, like, you know, I think that's a great point to bring up your cousin because...
No, he's a great example if you were to see. Like, dad of the year. Like, he should get it every year. He's that good. So that's all. We're just talking about roles. understanding them. Don't feel insecure. Don't have doubt, self-worth.
Issues.
Yeah. It's
Because
just
you
stuff
know,
like
it
that.
just takes time. It takes time to get into that mindset, you know, where you're like, okay, you know what? There's tons of men and women that are doing this, and
Right.
you know, I'm not only a domestic engineer, just like a lot of you are, but I'm also an autism parent mentor. I'm a writer. I've got all these things going on.
Right.
So,
Like, I'm so proud of her, and when she comes to me, I'm like, what? How are you even saying something negative? But everyone's different.
you're right, and you guys probably have your own thing too. I mean, some of you may be pastors, maybe ministers, you may be, doing PRN work or whatever. But I mean, just get out of the negative mindset.
Get out.
And support each other as husband and wife, and it'll all be okay.
So proud of her.
It'll be okay.
Yep. Okay, thank you guys. That's it for today. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
All right, bye.